Hi, Roy here on my channel Roy Reads Anything, including the works of William Shakespeare, because this is Shaketember, a booktube event with co-hosts, fabulous co-hosts Nicole at A Day of Small Things, Kelly, Books I'm Not Reading, and Jason, Old Blues Chapter and Verse. So they're this year's hosts for Shaketember, which is an event celebrating Shakespeare, and we can do pretty much anything we want to sort of engage with Shakespeare, but there are also some recommended reads for each of the weeks, which I'm hoping to do, and a tag, the Shakespeare Journey Tag. So the co-hosts I'll link to devised the tag, and I was tagged by Nathan, the rambling reviewer. So, into the questions. What was your first experience reading Shakespeare, and what was it like? Well, I think that would have been at school, not unusually, and it would have been Julius Caesar for O-level, which was the British kind of 16-year-olds exams, and I remember it as being a bit of a slog, to be honest, at least at first. I've got more enthusiastic memories for A-level, which is like the up to 18 optional extra exams, where we did Hamlet, and that was quite good. So, yeah, it felt like here's this quite difficult thing to work your way through, basically, though I got a bit more enthusiastic about Hamlet, and I know I read some of the other tragedies as well. Question 2, has the reading of Shakespeare ever brought you to tears? What scene was it, and where were you when it happened? No, not reading. I don't think. I've been moved by a lot of Shakespeare I've seen. I mean, I should say I and we have watched a lot of Shakespeare, particularly on screen. The sort of live screenings and recorded screenings from theatre companies and movies and things like that. Yeah, but probably not just reading it on the page, I don't think. Question 3. Are there any people that have played a significant role in your Shakespeare journey? Well, I'm going to say Shakespeare, because without his input, the complete works of William Shakespeare would be pretty lame.
Just a pair of covers, really.
Yeah, or a blank notebook, and we'd have to write our own plays and poems.
No, Willie and the Monkeys.
But apart from that, I would actually say my dad, and this was just an off-the-cuff remark he made that turned out to be quite true. So he once said, the thing about Shakespeare is when you see really good actors doing it, he probably meant people like John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier. When you see the really good actors doing it, they make it sound like normal speech, and it's easy to understand. And I took that on board, and I think the first time I really thought, oh yeah, he was right, was the the Henry V movie with Kenneth Branagh. Just seemed like the performers were speaking, basically, and I felt it was comprehensible. So number 3 answer was my dad. Do you have a favourite book or film about Shakespeare? Well, I'm ashamed to say I can't think of having read a book about Shakespeare, although I'm reading one at the moment, Shakespeare, a very short introduction. So these are a series of introductory texts, and by and large they're really good. This one's great, really enthusiastic, lots of interesting background about Shakespeare as a person, theatre at the time, and obviously it doesn't go into a lot of depth about the individual plays, but enjoying that. So, right then, which character in Shakespeare, question 5, which character in Shakespeare most resembles you, and in what ways? Well, I don't really have a sort of go-to, like, yeah, that's my guy kind of Shakespeare character that I think is, is basically me. I think I've certainly behaved like a lot of the characters at particular times. I've certainly, I've been officious and persnickety like Malvolio in Twelfth Night sometimes, but that's not what I'm like all the time. I've spun incomprehensible poetic speeches no one can follow, like Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, but I'm not like that all the time. I think Shakespeare's Seven Ages of Man speech, I suppose those aren't quite characters, but I've certainly reached level 5 in the Seven Ages of Man. The Justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. So that's the sort of middle-aged one, but then moving inexorably towards level 6, the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose, yes, and pouch on side, man bag. His youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound.
No.
Maybe not quite there yet, but, it's going to
like
come. And that's just level 6. Wait for level 7.
Don't level up, for God's sake.
Which play would you most like to see performed in a theatre, and why? Going to say Twelfth Night, and this is because for 8 or 9 years now we've watched a different version of Twelfth Night every 12th night. So we've seen a whole bunch of different versions on screen, and we've seen it done in the classical style, we've seen it done updated, various weird and wonderful ways. We've seen it with the guy from Ant-Man in it. So seen 12th Nights all over the shop, but not seen it on stage live, so that would be really good.
I've seen it on stage live.
Dr. Jenny's seen it on stage live.
In Russian.
In Russian?
In Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg.
They do like Shakespeare over there, don't they?
They love Shakespeare over there. Yeah.
Question 7. What actor throughout history would you have liked to see play Hamlet when in his prime? So my answer to this was a little bit cheeky, I thought, based on the wording of the question. It turned out it is a thing that actually happened. So my answer was Sarah Bernhardt. Sarah Bernhardt, who was a performer and an artist active in the late 19th, early 20th century. A kind of transgressive celebrity, a sort of proto-goth, really. It was put about that she slept in a coffin. So I was thinking, she had her sort of creativity and her bohemian style would make her a great Hamlet. But it turned out she did play Hamlet.
She did.
And it was on tour, so loads of people saw her playing Hamlet.
I think she might have been the first woman to play Hamlet.
Possibly.
Been others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, well, she had a whole theory about why it was better played by a woman, because men who were young enough to carry it off wouldn't have the life experience to actually have the depth of understanding of the work. And men that do have that are too old. Plus, the skull... She used an actual human skull for the famous Yorick scene that was given to her by Victor Hugo, which in the world of skull gift provenance is pretty hard to beat. So,
Pretty cool.
Sarah Bernhardt. Question 8. Deliver your favourite speech or soliloquy, not song, from a Shakespeare play. Okay, so... get your listening gear ready for From the Tempest. Prospero. Our revels now are ended. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Question 9. Which do any of Shakespeare's plays intimidate you? If yes, what play and why? It's not so much an individual play as a whole category of plays. The history plays. I've mainly seen tragedies and comedies, and the thing is with the histories, it feels as if you need to know two things. One is the history, and the other, to know roughly what's going to happen, and also to be able to sort of decode the play as it happens. So those feel a bit much, but having watched a pretty decent version of one of the Henrys, thought that was good, and we're going to have a crack at the Hollow Crown, which I've heard about on Nicole's channel, and that sounds like a good series of adaptations of history plays. So yes, that's the plan. 10. What tips would you give to intimidated readers coming to Shakespeare for the first time? Well, probably to start with watching rather than reading. I think, as per my dad's comment about good actors make it seem comprehensible, I would just watch one and not worry too much if you zone out now and again, because, maybe read a plot summary on Wikipedia or something so you know the basic sort of bones of the thing. Just watch one and let it absorb you, and go from there. I would recommend reading. I mean, that's what I'm doing because of Shaketember. I've read Romeo and Juliet. I'll come back to that in another video, and really finding there's more depth and interest in the language. I think, when I'm watching, an example, I suppose, what I mean. I think when I'm watching a Shakespeare play, I would probably know if somebody made a dirty joke, but I might well not actually know what that joke meant or why it was funny. I just know it from the delivery and the reaction. Reading, obviously you can read versions with notes and stuff. That's what I'm doing with my Thicko's versions of the plays. You get that extra insight. But yeah, watch one. See what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Which is your favourite Shakespeare play and why? I'm going to say Twelfth Night again, partly through familiarity of seeing it so many times. I just love the mixture of comedy and tragedy and intrigue, and the kind of weirdness of it, and the way it works with lots and lots of different performers. So yes, Twelfth Night. Curiously lacking in stuff to do with Twelfth Night itself, except I think the idea is sort of world turned upside down, the sort of the servants becoming the masters and stuff like that, and people swapping identities, because that's something people used to do on Twelfth Night, as well as it being the end of Christmas, I think. Question 12, tag other booktubers. Okay, well, I will do tags. So I will have a tag here for Heather Reads. There you go, Heather. Another one for Heather Gregg, one for you. And let's do Thomas, Art and Lit Matters. Oh, strong grip there, fella. Okay, so that's Shakespeare Journey Tag. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon with something else. Bye.